set. Doing mics today, so we have a question. Get my attention. We'll get one to you and state your name and your affiliation. Streaming, we good? All right, Coach.
Okay. Obviously, this week another conference opponent. Utah is very, very well coached. Have a lot of veteran players on this team. When you look at it, when you watch the tape, similar to last year, they play complementary football. They run the ball very well. A quarterback got hurt in our game, if you guys remember. It looks like he's gained some weight, some muscle, playing well. The defense is outstanding. They're only giving up about 13 points a game. Really good in the red zone, don't allow you touchdowns. They don't punt the ball very much as well on offense. I think they had 16 punts. So they're a very powerful football team on both sides. They're big up front. They're physical. We knew that coming in here last year. They've scored a lot of points and don't allow a lot of points. They're averaging about 34 points a game, and opponents are on average 13. So we will have our hands full, to say the least. Coach has done a marvelous job up there. He's been there a long time. He has created a program a little bit like his image. Tough. They're very tough. You know that when you play a team like this. So we better be prepared to put our shoulder pads on and tie them up tight. It's going to be that kind of football game.
Michelle Gardner, Arizona Republic. Coach, I was curious your take now that the HBO experiment is done, what that was like and what kind of exposure and how can that help your program as far as that?
Well, I'm hoping it helps college football in general. When you invite a program like HBO here to visit your campus, it says a lot about the university, a lot about the Pac-12, trying to build a brand of football. But it really, it goes into depth in the fact that it takes you behind the scenes. And I think if you're any kind of football fan, whether you're a Sun Devil fan or not, if you're a college football fan, all college programs will run a little bit different, that you'll see some uniqueness to certain programs, how they do things. But I think it's about the student athlete for more than anything else and what they go through. I mean, we watch them on Saturday perform, but the process of getting ready to play a football game, I think, is unique for a lot of people. So you take them behind the scene, and hopefully it'll present a good image for college football. I mean, that's how I look at things like that.
Hod Rabino, Devil's Digest. Herm, resiliency is one of those traits where you love to have, but when you exhibit it almost every game, it also shows a tendency of being in a hole that you have to dig yourself out of time and time again. Is that just a necessary evil that you live with having such a young team, or do you think that's maybe a concern for the second half of the season?
No, absolutely. I just think when you're young, you grow to learn how to put people away. And we're so young right now, at times we play like that. And then all of a sudden we get this sense of urgency of, hey, this thing's slipping away, and let's go after it. But look, we're in our second year of this program. Let's make no mistake. And we haven't had a lot of potholes yet. There could be some on the horizon. And I think when we hit them, we have to stay steady, and I'll stay steady, and we'll continue to build this thing. I mean, this is a new program, guys. It's brand new. You say what you want, but it is. And I've watched enough college football, visited with numerous coaches that have coached in college football, and before I took this job, I actually talked to a bunch of them that I really respect about the process of building something, and how you have to go about doing it. And I've talked to some coaches that have done that, and so we got to stay steady in what we believe in, and that when you play a lot of young guys, there's a point to where they got to eventually figure out how to close a game out. But to their credit, they don't blink. They play. They play until there's no time left on the clock. And as long as you do that, you're going to have a chance if you keep the game close. And we've been able to do that for the last, actually, I haven't been there 2 years, but going into the second half of a season, for 2 seasons, we've been pretty competitive. And I think if you remember my first press conference, one thing I said, we wanted competitive consistency. And I think we have delivered that thus far. Now we've got to continue to do that and grow from that. But that was I said that. I know I said that. And competitive consistency, what does that mean? Have the ability week in and week out regardless of who the opponent is, to have a chance to win a game. And to these players' credit, the ones last year and the ones this year, along with the coaching staff, they have done that. And I think that's all you can ask. And then from there, you build on that.
Hi, Coach.
Hello.
Trusted Tedrick, 3TV, CBS
Where's my
5.
girl at? She in school?
She's in school.
Okay. We're good. We're good.
She said you were cool, by the way.
All right. Thank you.
Coach, you look at Jayden Daniels and just the numbers that he's been able to put up, over 1,600 yards. In the Pac-12, he's one of the top 5 quarterbacks in passing yards, and just the ability that he has. Is he playing, would you say, like a senior quarterback with the numbers he's put up?
To be quite honest, the only number I'm concerned with, he doesn't turn the ball over. I haven't seen any other number. I know he's only turned over one time. He's not careless with the ball, which is smart. All the other stuff, I don't pay a whole lot of attention to, because he's a freshman, and every game is a new experience for him. It's a new team that he's played, a new environment, and so I don't get into all the numbers. I just get into, I know this. I'm glad he's on our team. And I think as he continues to grow, he has a chance to be a very good player. And we're just watching him grow. And I said that when this year. I said, you're going to watch young players grow up on the grass. Every week they walk in the stadium or go on the road. There'll be a bunch of young guys, and there'll be some oohs and some ahs, but you watch them grow up. And I think Jayden has probably captured a lot of people's imagination. Because of how he's played in big moments. And I mean in big moments, on the road and at home. And kudos to him, but there's still a lot to be done. And we know that. And I tell my coaching staff that all the time, that we got a lot of work to do still. We're laying bricks. You just stack them. You just keep laying them, and that's what we're trying to do. So, and I like the excitement. I think excitement's good for the program. It's good for our fan base. It brings energy, and that's a good thing. And I'm hoping the fans understand the direction that we're headed in. Are we there yet? No. It's a journey. We're on a destination. We haven't arrived yet, but we'll keep working as hard as we can to get there.
Coach Michael Caracino, Sports Hangover. To piggyback off your point, you're saying to put teams away, but when you're on the sidelines and you're getting the feel of a game, I mean, do you feel maybe frustration coming from the other team that they feel maybe they should be able to pull away from a young team or a team that hasn't been in that situation before, and that you're in the games?
Well, I do know this. Visiting with some of the coaches before the game, the comments that always come out is that these guys really play hard, Coach. And I go, well, that gives them a chance. And when the opposite head coach tells you that, or assistant coaches tell you that on their staff, that is a nice compliment to have, that your team plays hard. And that's good. That's a good thing. And I just think for us, the more we play, now we're getting to the halfway point, right? We got a tough schedule. There's a lot of good teams there. And that's good for us, because we want to see where we stack up. And that's what this season's about. Where do we stack up this year? We knew where we were last year. As we continue to grow now, where are we now with all these young guys? And how much more can they grow and get better as the season continues to go on?
Hello, Coach. Koki Riley, Inferno Intel. I was just wondering, this past week you guys didn't have any sacks. What's it going to take to reinvigorate that pass rush?
Oh, boy. Yeah, we haven't sacked the quarterback a lot, and we haven't taken the ball away enough, interception-wise. And a lot of it is just getting one-on-one matchups. It was very difficult this week in the sense that the ball was coming out very quickly. At times, we were only rushing 3. And then we went to man-to-man, and all of a sudden the pressure, kind of got to the pocket a little bit more, got the quarterback not sitting in the pocket and moving him some. And so all those things become a factor. Sacks are always coordinated with the rush and with the coverage. Now, when you play a team like Washington State, they don't give up a lot of sacks because the ball's out so fast, And that's difficult, but we haven't hit home as much as we'd like. And if you have to rush more than 4, then you put people in some bad spots according to what the matchups are. Now, we feel pretty good about our secondary, and they did a really good job this week with all the man coverage that was required, because we couldn't slow them down in zone. We really couldn't. They found an open zone, and we couldn't get there on the rush. And when they can throw it, they hit the spot. So we decided to play a lot of man coverage. Now, they caught some balls, but for the most part, we did a pretty good job of covering them.
Jeff and then Nick.
Hi, Jeff Metcalf, Arizona Republic. Danny Gonzalez said after the game that some head coaches would veto what he wanted to play against Washington State, but you were on board with it. Can you just talk about, like, when he comes to you with something like, I want to use 2 defensive linemen and change things, how you approach that with him?
There's probably defensively and then probably offensively too. There's not anything that I'm surprised about. I've kind of seen everything. There's concepts of how you want to do it and what are you trying to get to at the end. And for me, when he comes up with something, I go, hey, good. Let's try it. If we think that can help us, let's do it. Now, in the course of the game, obviously, when I'm seeing things, whether it's offense or defense, I'm going, okay, I've seen enough of this, and I'm writing, always taking notes. And I said, maybe we should all shift to this now. Let's try this a little bit more. And it was the thing with the zone early, and I kept saying, I said, we practiced on zone, it was great, but coach, we ain't getting there. And this quarterback, I don't know, one time we rushed 3, and it was like, okay. And he was patting the ball, and he patted it again, and he patted it again. I said, enough of this. I said, no. One thing about me, it's like going to the dentist. Just pull it out, man. Pull my tooth out. I don't want to wait around. Just let's go. Let's get it over with. I don't want to be sitting in there all day talking, oh, we can do this. No, just pull it out. Let's get it done. And that's how I feel about football. It's like, got to make a decision now. We can sit here all day and watch this thing, quarterback do like this and do like this, or we can go after him and make him make a decision. And let's ask our guys to cover. And Danny says, I'm good with that. I said, so am I. And I'll live with the consequences. It's like the 4th and 2 call at the 45. It's real simple for me. I told Likens, I said, I don't care what you got. I said, number 3's carrying the ball. I said, if we don't make it, then I can live with that. But if we don't make it because we threw a pass, I can't live with that. I said, they got to know if we're going to be a tough football team, we got to run the ball right now, right here, and give it to our best player. And if you don't make it, good. I tip my hat to them, say, okay, you guys win. But there's just certain things that happen in a football game that just my personality won't allow it to happen. I go, no, we're going to do it this way. And I told the team that today. 4th and 2. Did you guys know what I was going to do? He said, yeah, coach, we knew. I said, yeah, we're going to run the ball. You got to run the ball. You kidding me? Come on, you can't throw a pass. Run the ball. You're going to be a good football team. So certain things I'm going to do.
Nick and then Kirsten.
Herm, Nick King, 3TV, CBS 5. What's your view on the conference beating up on itself again, where basically every team has 1 or 2 losses?
That's what it does, and it's kind of interesting because I think if you're a fan of whatever team that you cheer for, you got a chance. Now, I think there comes a point to like 3 more games from now, if you have too many losses, you don't have a chance to win the conference. But I think it's a conference that we all look at each other like, every time you're playing somebody saying, if we can win this game and these other things can happen, we get close, right? And that's kind of how this conference weighed out. I mean, that's what I looked at last year, just being involved in it. We were kind of at this point, I think we were 3-3. I'm not for sure. I hope I'm right. If I'm wrong, then I'm sorry. But I think we were somewhere there. And I remember folks talking to the team. I said, hey, we're not out of this now. And lo and behold, when it got to 5 games left, the conversation was real simple. I said, we got to win out. If you win out, we'll have a chance. And we didn't. We lost to Oregon. And that was it. And, and I understand that. And there'll be a point where this is the number. What's the number? You got to get to there if you're going to be involved in this. And if not, then, you're not. So I like that part, that I think a lot of teams are still in it when you look at it. And I think that's good for your fan base. It's good for the players. It's good for the conference because you feel like, look, we got to keep playing. You got to play 6 more and see what happens and see where it all ends up.
Kirsten Susel, NBC Phoenix. Just reflecting on the first half of the season, the changes, the young team heading into the season, you at least have to be pretty pleased. I don't know what else you maybe could have asked for out of your guys than a 5-1 record and improving each week, which is something they seem to have been doing?
Well, 6-0. To be quite honest. I mean, that's just me. I mean, I don't prepare to lose. You know, I actually kind of prepare to win every week. That's what I expect. When I stop doing that, I'm going back to Carmel. And I'm going to sit down and just watch everybody else do it. But I don't do all this not to win or to put a number on the total of wins. It's just, to me, you prepare every week to win a football game. And if you don't, you get an opportunity next week to win one. And I just think that's got to be the mindset. I think the players know that by now. They kind of know that this is what we're all about. And you prepare every week to win a game. That's what's great about this game, really, is every week you have another opportunity, and then eventually you run out, and they say this season's over with. So, and then you count them up and say, okay, this is what we did. But for me, you know, I said it when I took the job. I always say it. You folks have a tough job. You really do, because you're asked things without having all the information of who's going to win, how many wins. You know, it's hard because you're not in the building every day. You don't see the kids every day. You just have to see what you see and come up with an answer. And that's why it's a hard job you guys have. And you know, sometimes you're right and sometimes you're not. For me, I listen to my eyes every day because I see it. And I know this program better than anybody because I'm in this building every day, and I watch players and I watch coaches. And there's a mindset that I have, but you'll never know what that is. It'll always be about winning. And I think the players know that. That's who I am. Okay, and that's how it works with me. It don't work. There's no like gray area. It's like, hey man, just give yourself a chance to win. That's all I ask for. And if we do that, we'll be all right. And you'll win your share of games. You really will. But to me, there's never a set number. It's always, this week is the one. And they're all big. And I've never had a win that wasn't big. They're big. Now, sometimes the perception of that, because it's a certain game, it's a certain team, it's a bigger game, they all count as one the last time I checked. Doesn't matter. And if you understand that, and you come to work every day like that, you have the kind of mindset that will allow you to win. But there's a lot of work involved in it, I know that. It's hard. Hard.
Coach Paul Rich from Sportscape, how you doing? You said something. You said all you knew is that 4th and 2, number 3 was going to get the ball. That's the way you are. That's the way you're wired. Nowadays, you see so many coaches, so many programs, college and pro, they get cute when it's like 4th and 1, 4th and 2. Mm-hmm. Where did you, like, what put that mindset in you? Have you always been like that? Or was there a coach that said to you, this is how we're going to do it?
I think I've learned that from coaches. I've learned that when I was a player of playing, that you have to believe that this is what happens. And I think you have to understand who you are. You have to understand who your good players are. And when it's on the line, you put them in position so they can do what they got to do. I mean, I've done it sometimes, didn't work. You know, I told you the story. Kevin and White, we laugh at it all the time. New Orleans Saints, Monday Night Football. They're 4th and 1 on the minus 35. We could punt it. We punt it down there. I called timeout. Hey, come on. Brought the offense over, defense over. I knew what I wanted to do. I just made sure I wanted them to say it. I said, we could punt. We could punt it down there and let them go a long field, and they score, then, you know, defense, or we can go for it right now, close the game out. And I said, you guys want to punt? I know you do. They got mad at me. I said, Coach, we don't want to punt, we want to run the ball. I got Curtis Barton, Hall of Famer. I said, well, okay, what do you want to do? I knew what they wanted to do. They wanted to run. Now, probably should have punted it on the road. But I'm like, okay. Because I wanted to see how the team felt. Turn around, 4th and 1, minus 3. They got the ball. Still won the game, though. Stopped them. So, you know, sometimes you just, You do that just to see how your team's going to react. They got to have ownership. The players have to have ownership. They play. And when the big moments appear, I want them to have a say. Like, hey, we want that. Because when you get really good, boy, it's real easy then because you're just a gift to the players. When crunch time comes, you better be in position to get the ball to your best player. Did it last year. It was either 3 or was that other guy that went to the New England Patriots. And it was no doubt. They're circled on my list. Coach, guess what? Yeah, I know. Get it to him. I don't even have to tell him. Get it to him. Okay? Coach, we got it. And if you go down that way, you go down. It's okay. But you got to go down. You got to go down with your best guys on the ball, you know, or you got to go down with your best coverage. You got to go down with your best call. And if they beat you, they beat you. And that way, you never second guess yourself. I never second guess myself. I just say, this is what we're going to do. And I think the players, you know, they appreciate that. Your football team understands that. You know, I know when I was in New York or everywhere I was at, if we were on a 1 or 2 yard line, I couldn't call timeout and tell those guys they're going to throw a pass. Offensive line would beat me up. What do you mean, coach? You got to run the ball here. I said, I know, I get it. We're running the ball, you know. So there's just certain things you got to do, and you just got to trust the players. That's what you do. You trust your players.
Chris Cartman, Son of a Source. Herm, the combination of Jayden Daniels' early success plus how many freshmen you play plus being ranked, how has that shaped or enhanced your conversations with recruits and their families?
I think obviously there's more attention put on your football team when people are talking about you, especially when you're ranked or when you win games, and you win games in the fashion we win, and you got a young dynamic quarterback that everyone in the country's talking about right now, right? I mean, I don't know that. I assume that from what you guys say, because I don't turn television on, so I don't see it. But I would assume you're asking me the question, so people are saying that outside this building, right? So, I mean, it helps you. I mean, the HBO thing will help us. It helps your program. This is all about building a program. And anything we have to do to build a positive image of this program, we're going to do. That's why I'm here. And so I think the players enjoy it. Talking to AP, who's our guy, he's connected with all the people. You know, he knows more than anybody. And he tells me we're doing good. And that's all I need to hear. So he says, Coach. I go, okay, that's all I need to know. We'll just go try to win another game and see what happens. And, you know, the more you win, I think things start coming your way a little bit. So it'll be interesting.
Doug Haller with The Athletic. Herm, after last season, there was a little bit of talk that maybe Chase Lucas let his emotions affect his play too much last year. How has he done with that this year, and just how has he played overall?
I think he's playing a lot better, and I think last year was tough on him because he had a new coaching staff. There were some things required of him that he wasn't required the previous year, and because he was a young guy, he was a running back. They did I think the smart thing by moving him to defense, because I think that's for him to continue to play. That's where he's going to have to play, and then we came in. It's a new system, and we're asking him to do all these things, and he was a little frustrated at times, you know. And I think I've earned his trust, and he's the guy now that he kind of gets it. Say, okay, Coach, I got it now. I understand what we need, and he's really playing good. Last couple games, he's really played good, you know. And they caught some balls on him, but he's tight coverage. I mean, you can't cover him any better than he's covering them right now. And the more he plays, and the more he's around us, and the more he's familiar with the system, the better player he's going to be, because he got a lot of talent, you know. So I'm happy for him, because last year and early, it was a little bit of a struggle for him at times. You could just see his eyes. He's like, man, what is this? What are they asking me to do? And now he's all in, because he understands, you know. And I told all those defensive guys, this is the hardest thing you'll ever have to deal with coming here. You got a defensive-minded head coach. And I'm always harder on you guys than anybody in the building. And that's the way it is. I'm that way. I was that way in pro football. When I took this job, I walked into the defensive room, I'm just telling you, I said, guys, it ain't going to be fair now. I said, because there's a certain standard I expect. I know Danny expects a certain standard. And then when you're a secondary guy, it's even worse for those poor guys. It's just flat. It's horrible. I feel bad for them. I do. Because I expect certain things out of them. And I don't need a book to coach them. I don't need a book. I don't need how do you play secondary? I don't need a book. It's right here. It's right here and it's right here. And I've done it my whole life. And so they don't have the answer to the question. I got the answers to the question. And I pose the question. So I give them the question and I answer it for them. I don't need to go to a book. I just tell them this is what we're going to do and this is why we're going to do it. And I show them why. I always show them why we do it, why it's better to do it this way. And I learned that on the grass. I didn't learn it like, hey man, no. I already did it. All that other stuff you want to do, no, that don't work. This is what works, trust me. And it worked at the highest level. It'll work here if we do it correctly. And so it's hard on those guys. I mean, you guys see me at practice when individual starts. Who's coaching them? Me. Danny, those guys give me 15 minutes. And the players know, here he comes. Coach is coming. I'm coming over there. They know it. They know it. Every night I sit here and I go, these are the drills we're doing today. And I go over there and I get the ball and I say, let's go. I'm not the head coach anymore. I'm not. I'm like the secondary guy, man. I'm the flat secondary coach. And you can call Lynch, you can call Rondy, you can call them all. All those guys ever coach. They said, man, when that dude come over here, look out. Because he's getting ready to coach. And I'm not the head coach. I'm really not. For 15 minutes, I am no longer the head coach. I am the position coach. And I'm coaching them guys like I was playing. That's the closest thing I'll ever get to playing again, is to coach those guys for 15 minutes. That is the most gratifying thing I do every day of practice for me. To go on the grass and coach the guys. To give them things that I've learned as a player, to give it to them. They said if you use it, it'll make you better. And it's hard. So it's hard on them guys, man. I know it. It's just hard on them. But I love them. And they know I love them. And when the game starts, it's like I'm playing, you know. And so I got them. I understand how hard it is. It's a hard job, man. That playing back there in that back end, hard stuff. But that's what they got to deal with. Crazy, man.
Tim Healy, Sun Devil Radio Network. Herm, last year your team may have played its best game of the season in a win over a Utah team that was on a roll then as it is now. Does that, in your opinion, provide any potential confidence boost or carryover effect for the players who participated in that game for you a year ago?
Yeah, but let's make it perfectly clear. It was a pretty tight game going into the third quarter, and then the quarterback got hurt. And that, all of a sudden, is tough for anybody. The quarterback goes down. We were able to run the football, and I think the heat got to them a little bit, warmed down some. But it was a very physical game, I do know that, for both parties. And a lot of the players that were here last year are not here on defense. You know what? On offense too, by the way. But so it's a different group. These guys are a really good football team. I think they were picked to win the whole deal, and I can see why. I mean, it's a veteran-laden group. They've played together for a while, you know, and this is going to be tough going there on the road. You know, it's going to be probably under 60 degrees. It sounds like. Our guys haven't dealt with that, right? I'm trying to get the bubble turned down to 50 degrees, right? Just whatever, because I know our guys. I mean, at Cal, they were like, oh, it was 65. Come on, guys. So, you know, we got to get through that one first. And our guys will get through it. But I'll make fun of them, you know, and I'll do what I got to do. But it'll be a wonderful environment to play in, because it's going to be loud. It's going to be it's going to be Michigan State going on the road with a good team. It's supposed to win the conference. And I can see why they picked them. They're really good. They're really good. And we got to go experience that now. Let's go. Let's go show up. We're going to play. And that's the fun of it all, I think, for me. And hopefully for the football team, we'll learn a lot.
Coach, your team seems to embrace that underdog role. They seem to really like being the underdog. Where does that come from? Is it? The underdog thing to me is funny, because I just think that's, as I say, it's the perception of what other people say.
You know, like I say, you folks have a hard job. You got to predict who's going to win, who's going to. I don't pay attention to any of it, so I don't know. But I guess we're the underdog. I would assume you're saying that, and okay, but as long as we get to play with 11 players, you know, we're gonna go play, and whatever happens, happens. But I don't get into, you know, it's kind of like you're the favorite this week. I don't know how people figure all that stuff out without the ball being kicked. And I get it because all the formulas or whatever, but I don't pay a whole lot of attention to it. I don't know half the time. I just go. We're gonna go play and kick the ball off and go compete. See what happens.
Just you've mentioned several times that you're building.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel in year 2 that you're ahead of schedule?
In certain areas, yeah. In certain areas, no. We still lack depth. That is our problem. We lack depth, right? And you have to have depth if you're gonna have consistency in your program. You know, you shouldn't have to play 29 redshirt or true freshmen. That should not be the case, but that is the case. Hopefully 2 years from now, let's say those guys are developing, man. They're good players. They can't crack the lineup right now. Then you know you got a good team. Then it's like, okay. You know, recruiting is real simple. Can you out-recruit the class you just brought in? That's what you strive to do. Can you out-recruit the class that's just brought in? And the guys you just brought in know, we're getting ready to recruit some guys just as good as you. And if you allow it to happen, they're going to play for you. And that's the competitive environment that is here. And the players are learning that. They're learning it very quickly. These guys will know when the season ends, there'll be some guys coming in there about 25, 20 to something, I don't know, somewhere in the 20s. They'll know who they are. They'll know what positions they play. And they'll go, okay, the competition begins. And it will begin. There'll come a point where those young guys won't have the opportunity to just walk right. We got a left tackle and a right guard that are freshmen. That ain't fair. They shouldn't be playing this much. They really shouldn't be. But, I mean, you know, it's hard. And people don't know, this is hard. They shouldn't have to play as much as they play, but good for them, because it'll make them better. But that's what the program is right now, and we're still light at some areas, so we gotta do a better job of recruiting. It's on us. We gotta recruit better, and we gotta get some guys in here that can fill those things. I mean, you know, look at the running back situation. Got Eno. I mean, look at it. I'm not telling you nothing you don't know. I mean, there's some positions that they're light, and we got to do a better job, and that's our task, and we'll get it done. But there's a lot of work still to be done. That's why I keep saying we're building. We're building. Not done yet.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.